Previously on The Caver's Wife.
Okay guys, we are back home and we had a long day, but it's been a good day. We had an unexpected cave tour at my husband's, I guess, first cave love.
First cave I ever worked at, and it's where I learned to really get excited about caves and start that whole experience.
Yeah, so you guys will see that tomorrow. Okay guys, so we are taking an unexpected detour. We are actually at the first cave that my husband worked at. This is where he did his internship. We started dating when he was working here, and then of course got engaged. By the time we got married, he was already working for the National Park Service.
Any stuff that you won't know about this is talking about how when it
Stop doing that.
water drains into the ground, where it can go. And
Not focusing.
like livestock waste is over here. See a sinkhole? They dumped an old car in it. But when it rains, that's going to drain. Look, here's a cave. It's down here. Just cave. And all the water will drain and come back to this lake. Evaporation. And now he's buried at the cemetery here. Which you've been to that.
Yep. I'm going to post an iCard up in the corner. Jackie talking about Floyd Collins. This is Floyd Collins.
Yourself? Nope. Oh. I've been there to his Lost Passage.
This, of course, is not real. But it makes the cave museum look cool. This is Hidden River Cave. No, Parker, don't do that. We're gonna test the caver's memory and see if he remembers anything about this cave after all of the tours that he had given here. This is looking out. Now, Jackie, is this cave is privately owned, right?
This cave is owned by the American Cave and Conservation Association.
Okay.
So it's owned by a conservation group.
Okay.
This, you know how most towns, if they have a river going through town, they would put in a turbine that would turn the water, like a big water wheel, and the water wheel would turn and make electricity. Well, they didn't have a river running through this town, so they hooked it all up in the cave, and they had electricity being generated from the river in the cave. You can see the equipment down there, and it brings these pipes on here.
Yeah.
These pipes ran up to another one right here, and it turned it, and it made electricity and sent the electricity up to the people.
There's
right
a pipe
here.
on the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's not
Could you say that a little louder?
Oh.
He made a funny and said cave humor is the lowest form of humor on earth. So I guess we're getting a little homeschooling today.
Actually, one year that I was working here, it flooded. And when it flooded, the river rose, and you know how when the water goes down, you can tell by all the mud?
Yeah.
Right here. That's where the water made it to. See the mud on the ledge? I believe that was 95. All this was underwater.
Wow.
Isn't that a cool view looking back up? Look back up.
And
So this cave in like the 1920s, Henry Thomas, who was a doctor, he owned this area, and he decided to put in a generator down here because the river could power the generator and make electricity for his house and for his business. But he expanded it, and basically this cave provided electricity for the entire town for several decades. The problem is, though, is that if the town was doing something that he didn't like and they didn't want to do what he wanted to do, he'd come down here and turn the power off and the whole town would be out of electricity. Then what happened was by the 1940s there was so much business above ground, all the pollution and wastewater was running back into the cave system. It polluted the river so badly that the smell was just unbearable, so they had to close all of this. And it didn't reopen for like 50 years later until the conservation group cleaned it up and reopened it. And then I came here as a college kid and worked here as an intern. Fell in love with caving.
so how long did you work here before you went to the National Park Service?
I came here in '95 and I started working for the National Park in '98.
So do you think working here is what helped you get into the National Park Service?
Yeah, because working here, I got to meet and know a lot of people that worked at all the other surrounding caves, and so it got my foot in the door and the experience. And by the time I had graduated and got my degree, you know, I was ready to start working there as well. Oh yeah. Let's go see the rest.
I said bit by the bug off the fever. Easy stuff for me.
These very steep steps, and my legs are feeling the burn. They're kind of jiggling. You can hear the water.
Yeah, so you won't hit your head. Now what they did is they dammed up the river and they put in a turbine or a water wheel, and it turned this big crankshaft attached to the ceiling, and it went all the way to this. There was a chain connected to that generator. It turned that. It cranked another one. It was belt driven all the way to the surface, and that's how they created electricity.
Huh.
There's a turbo over there. Okay.
So the water you hear is not this river. It's another river that's coming out right here. There's another river that comes right out from under this ledge. This water's low enough we might get to see some eyeless fish or some crayfish here. Sometimes, but most of the time. Watch your head, watch this.
Oh yeah, you don't want to impale your face, Parker.
So right here, let's see if we can find some animals. Nope, there's one. See that big crayfish or crawdad? See it
Oh
right
wow,
there?
that's huge.
That's giant.
Can y'all see it?
That's way bigger than
I think I
caught.
can. Let me see what I can do.
Oh,
Yeah,
right where
there
it's
it
shining
is.
it. Oh, it's
There he's
moving.
moving now. He sees the light.
I thought he was eyeless.
That one's not. See how brown it is? That one has color.
Making my way downtown. Stop.
So over here,
I can't see over there.
there's an eyeless one. It's way over here. See that little white one?
Oh yeah, let me see it.
See the white one?
Oh, don't move.
Can you see it, Parker?
Yeah.
It's that little.
Can you see it, Em?
Where's my finger?
Yeah, that is a little eyeless.
Right there. It's an
Crawdad.
eyeless crayfish. Okay.
Turning.
We're up in First Dome now. This is a huge dome room. It's probably about a 1/4 acre in size. And You know, when I worked here, we actually did not have the path right here. They extended that shortly after I went on to the other cave systems. This is a huge dome-shaped room, kind of like a big basketball arena that we're in. And really, can't really see how big it is.
No.
Just doesn't light up on camera. But, hey, Parker, follow you. Lead the way.
Why are the rails wet?
I'm sorry?
Why are the rails wet?
Condensation, very humid, very damp down here. Just go to the end. The trail will stop in just a moment.
Do it again,
Do
Parker.
it again. Do it again. So behind me, kids, about a half mile down this passageway is a tunnel, a separate tunnel that branches off. And Jeremy Collins and myself, we found it many years ago when we were working here, and there's another river system running through it. And so they started calling it Wheat River, because that's my last name, and they just started referring to that as my passageway. So I actually have a river named after me in this cave system. And it's on the t-shirt, so it's official.
And he discovered it.
He discovered
I
it.
discovered it. Wheat River. It's really cool to be able to come back here. I mean, it's been nearly 20 years since I've worked here, and it's really cool to just come back, and I'm kind of surprised how much I remembered, and I even remembered where all the light switches were down here. But just to see this and to come back so many years later, and actually to show my kids where I started learning about caves and getting interested in them, and I think it's pretty cool that we were all able to come here today. This was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. Right, guys. Hey, so I wanted to thank David Foster of the American Cave Museum in Horse Cave, Kentucky, for letting the family come and hang out and go into the cave, and just letting me see the old cave once again and reminisce a little bit. That was a blast. I want to thank him. If you're ever passing through Horse Cave, Kentucky, stop and look at their museum. Maybe you noticed at the end they have zip lining. They do zip lining, rappelling, cave tours, museum tours. They got a lot going on there, and it's just growing a little bit more each and every year. And I'll always remember starting out in a little one-room office, helping to build that museum and put those cave tours together. So it was a lot of fun to be back, and I highly recommend go check it out. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this. I know it was really dark and hard to see in a lot of spots, but hey, that's a cave. That's a cave, guys.
Please push the talk switch and say security or phone setup.
Phone setup.
Phone setup. Push the talk switch and say pair phone, select phone.
Pair phone.
Pair. Push the talk switch and say a name for the phone.
My name is Jackie's phone. My name is Jack.
That name was too short. Please use 2 syllables or more, such as Michael Work.
Jack the Caver. Jack the Caver. Oh, yeah.
Push the talk switch and say confirm. Otherwise, say go back.
Go back.
Go back. Push the talk switch.